The realm. Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agreed to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones update video. In this new video, I have some very interesting information that I think a lot of you will want to hear. Last night, I was sent an email from someone who says they work with HBO. Although they want me to leave their name anonymous, they gave me some new information about the Jon Snow show they have been developing. Now, based on what this source said, they know at least one of the main ideas they have for this show. I'm sure some of you will immediately disregard this information, however, I do think a lot of you will find this to be as interesting as I did. Now, before I get into everything, there is something else I have to let all of you know. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video and my favorite game, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid features a massive universe where you get to build up your team from over 600 champions to fight in player vs player matches or boss battles. Use my QR code or the links below to download Raid yourself to your mobile phone or PC. My favorite faction in Raid is the High Elves. They have an awesome backstory. Their homeland, Aravia, has been around for thousands of years, surviving the fall of Lizardmen Empire, helped the humans form into civilizations, and defeated the orcs when they formed a huge horde and attacked the continent. But then things got twisted when Cyroth, the Lord of Darkness, convinced a bunch of elves to go evil and attack the kingdom. The Civil War nearly ended the elves, but Aravia survived, rebuilt, and now it's stronger than ever. Now this month is huge for Raid. They just released a brand new faction, the Sylvan Watchers, with some amazing new champions. Forest Elves, Ents, Druids, Foss, they're all here, and I cannot wait to summon them all to play with. And if that's not enough, Raid's got a full lineup of events, along with a new season of the Forge Pass where you can get your hands on some of the most powerful gear the game has ever seen. Also, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can get your exclusive rewards in Raid right now. But there's even more. New players, use my link or scan the QR code on the screen and get a free starter pack worth almost $30. A free champion Aina, and also this cool in-game loot. You will find your rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. Once you're in, you can find me in-game under the name Talking Thrones, and if you're fast, you can join my clan. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Now, as I'm sure most of you already know, Game of Thrones actor Kit Harington, better known as Jon Snow, has gone to HBO with a new idea for a show about his character. As of right now, we don't know that much about this show, other than what has already been shared by Amelia and George R.R. Martin. If you read George R.R. Martin's NotABlog website, or you watch my videos, then you know he's already confirmed this information. On his blog, he said yes, there is a Jon Snow show in development. Our working name for this show right now is Snow. There are 4 live-action successor shows in development at HBO. Information about 3 of these was released a while ago. Most of you have already heard about the Nymeria show, helmed by Amanda Siegel. Then there's also the show about the Sea Snake, aka The 9 Voyages with Bruno Heller. And then there's the Dunk and Egg show, The Hedge Knight, or The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I think some of these were officially announced, and in some other cases the news leaked out. The Jon Snow show has been in development almost as long as the other 3, but for whatever reason, it was never announced and it never leaked until now. But yes, this is real. This was not an official announcement from HBO, so it seems there was another leak. There's not much more I can say right now, not until HBO gives me a green light. It seems as though Amelia has already mentioned that Snow was Kit's idea in a recent interview, so that's already out there. Yes, it was Mr. Harington who brought the idea to HBO. I cannot tell you the names of the writers or showrunners since that has not been cleared for release yet, but I can say that he brought them in as well, his own guys, and they are amazing. Ever since Amelia and George R.R. Martin revealed this information, we have also found out who else is working on this show. Mr. Harrington's longtime friend and former roommate Daniel West is also working on this show with him. Not only are they friends and former roommates, but they also already worked on a show together at HBO. Now, ever since this news hit the internet, everyone has been wanting to know what this show would be about. At the end of Game of Thrones, we saw Jon Snow heading off north beyond the Wall with his direwolf ghost and his wildling friends. Now that Bran has the Iron Throne, what would Jon do after this? As we all know, the major deadly threats are gone. Dany is dead, the Night King and the White Walkers are dead, and Drogon has flown somewhere east, most likely to Old Valyria. What sort of adventures would Jon Snow have now? Well, according to this new email, they are figuring out a way they can bring the Night King and the White Walkers back. This is at least one of the ideas Mr. Harrington and his writers have brought to HBO. It is interesting how HBO's new Game of Thrones series, House of the Dragon, has kept the Night King story alive by introducing the Valyrian steel dagger and the story of A Song of Ice and Fire. Although the Night King and the White Walkers really shouldn't have anything to do with House of the Dragon, since it is set during the Dance of the Dragons, HBO and its writers have made sure we have not forgotten about the Night King and the threat that lies beyond the wall. I think maybe they're doing this as a way to set up something else in the future, like maybe in this new Jon Snow show. As we all know, Mr. Harrington was not happy about Arya being the one who delivered that fatal blow to the Night King. He did reveal this in an interview while he was still filming the show. Now, he was friendly with his answer, but we all know this is how he really felt.
Kid was really fine with it.
I was pissed. I was pissed that it wasn't me killing the Night King. I would have given you I'd have bet you thousands before we read the finals. I was like, yeah, it's definitely me.
I'm not shocked either because I know this is how millions of fans felt as well, myself included. I believe he's still very unsatisfied with how Jon Snow's story ended, and a major aspect of his story involved the Night King and his army. I mean, there has to be a reason why he wants to continue the Jon Snow show. It's no secret, they had been setting this up from the very beginning. Literally, in the very first episode of the show, we see Jon Snow ask about joining the Night's Watch, the band of brothers who guard the realm against the White Walkers and the Night King. It seemed as if Jon was destined to face off against the Night King, and as we all know, he did again and again. It was Jon Snow's direwolf ghost who discovered the Whites out beyond the wall. It was Jon Snow and his Valyrian steel sword who stopped the White Walker right in front of the Night King, leading to one of the greatest scenes in all of the show. In Season 5, when Jon Snow and the Night King stared at each other in the eyes, everyone was sure they would eventually face off against each other down the road. And they sort of did. They had another standoff in Season 7, when it felt like they were still setting up this incredible showdown. By then, it seemed inevitable that they would fight each other in the final battle. It was Jon Snow's journey after all from the very beginning. He was the one who joined the Night's Watch, and he was the one who rallied the realm together to fight this darkness when no one else even knew or believed they existed. Arya had her own journey, which was vengeance for her family by murdering everyone on her list. But those dumbasses Dane and Dave thought it would be too obvious if Jon fought the Night King because everyone already was expecting it to happen. If you ask me, this was one of their biggest mistakes. And this is why I do believe the source, because it would make for a far better ending. Now, some of you may also be wondering, how would they bring the Night King or the White Walkers back? We saw Arya stab him, which also made the rest of his army fall. Well, I wasn't given a whole lot of information, but there may be a few ways they could get it done. As we all know, the Night King had some incredible magical abilities. Not only was he able to reanimate an entire army at once, but he was also able to do this with animals as well. I mean, we saw him resurrect horses, giants, bears, and even a damn dragon. He could basically do whatever the hell he wanted. These magical abilities were also very similar to Bran's and even Orell's. Now, if you remember the wildling Orell, he was able to go in and out the mind of his eagle. Even as he was dying after Jon Snow stabbed him, he was able to leave his own body and live a second life inside of his animal. That's why it immediately went after Jon Snow after he died. The man was now living a second life inside of his eagle. Well, the Night King has the same ability. I would even argue that he's the greatest warg of them all, since he is able to reanimate whole armies of men even after they're dead. Maybe the Night King left his body and went into something else as Arya stabbed him. Maybe the Night King is now living inside of Bran. Maybe that's why Bran all of a sudden decided he wanted to become the king. Now, if you remember before the battle, Bran said he couldn't become the Lord of anything. Then, all of a sudden, he goes to King's Landing and wants to be the Lord of everything. How insane would it be if the Night King was now inside of Bran, and Jon Snow had to come back south to kill his own brother? It would actually be very fitting, because it would be very similar to the story of the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, who was also known as the Night's King. If you've ever heard one of Old Nan's stories, then you know there was a man known by the name of Brandon Stark, who became the Night's King during his reign over the Wall. For 13 years, he and his Night's Queen bound the men of the Night's Watch to their will, while also sacrificing babies north of the Wall. The only way this Night's King was stopped was after his brother, who was the Lord of Winterfell, went to the Wall and killed him. I think it would be amazing if it happened again. It would certainly explain a lot of things, and make the ending a hell of a lot better. Another way they could do this is through Craster's sons. In one of the scenes all the way back in the second season, Craster revealed he had 99 sons, and as we all know, he gave all of his sons to the White Walkers and the Night King. Well, we never actually saw all 99 of those sons, we only saw a few dozen of them at most. Who knows, maybe some of them are still out there in the lands of always winter. As of right now, none of this information can be confirmed. HBO still hasn't made an official announcement about this show themselves, although George R. R. Martin already has. However, before any of you immediately disregard this information, let me tell you why I haven't done that yet. Roughly 5 years ago, I received another email that looked very similar to the one I got last night. In that old email, someone sent me this photo, long before the episode ever aired on HBO. As you can see, this is the scene where Jon Snow stabs Dany. Like I said, I had this photo over a year before the episode actually aired. The guy who snapped this photo actually sent it to me first before anyone else had seen it. He said he was a fan of my videos, so he wanted me to break the news, even before he shared it anywhere himself. So when I made that video saying I had the evidence of Jon murdering Dany, I was flamed in the comment section. Some were saying I was a liar, some were saying I made it up myself, and others said the photo was fake or from another scene. Basically, hundreds and thousands of fans disregarded the photo because they couldn't believe I had it before anyone else. I want all of you to keep that in mind before you disregard this video I've made today. The guy who sent me this new email might be lying, but I do think it makes a lot of sense even if he is. I will have an open mind for now, and I must admit I do love the idea, so it might be some wishful thinking on my end. I obviously want it to be real, so with all of that being said, let me know what all of you think down below. I'm always open and interested in hearing what you have to say. As always, I want to thank all of you for watching this video. I hope all of you have a great day. I will see you again very soon. Bye.